Surfari is the story of waves that travel thousands of miles and challenge everything in their path. Surfari is also the story of surfers that travel thousands of miles to meet that challenge. Not all surfers are eager to face a 20-foot wave. Some need a little coaxing. Hey, how about my board? About 5 miles north of Lanada, hundreds of surfers and spectators have gathered at the Redondo breakwater. Most surfers have never even seen surf this size, much less try to ride it. The word was out. Storms surf at Redondo, and every surfer for miles around headed for the breakwater. Unlucky Charlie got the word, but he should have stayed home. Unlucky Charlie's brother should have stayed home, too. Surfers will talk about this big December day at Redondo for years and brag about their perfect ride. There were a lot of perfect rides. All day long, surfer challenged wave and wave challenged surfer. No doubt this day will be remembered as one of the most dramatic in California surf history. Our safari begins as we join two surfers heading out of the city to pick up their girlfriends and enjoy a day of surfing. The 1967 International Surf Champion is Ricky Grigg, a scholarship student. His friend John Teague is also a student and an outstanding surfer. It was about 50 years ago that the great Duke Kahanamoku introduced the art of surfing to Southern California. In the past 20 years, it has mushroomed from a few surfers scattered along the cut, especially Rick and John's girlfriends who've been waiting for over an hour. Rincon is one of the best surfing spots along the California coast, located just south of Santa Barbara. It's a point break and has one of the best shapes and longest rides to be found in California. Surfing has its own code of ethics. Watch what happens when a young surfer drops in front of Cooper.
Oh, a kook. Ah, good boy, Cooper. Wipe him out.
Man, that Bob Cooper sure got this place wired. Let's go out.
I think we have time for just how about that 360?
Well, it was a good day at Rincon, and Rick and John are reluctant to leave. But there was a little matter that Rick and John had promised to teach the girls to surf. And, of course, the contest this afternoon. Cruising down the coast, the guys were having a rough time convincing the girls that they really rescued a young Frenchman. Well, you can't win them all. It's getting tougher and tougher to be a hero these days. Hey, look. Here's a break. Now maybe the girls will believe them. Rick figured they might as well give the guy a lift as far as Malibu. At least he wouldn't get pneumonia, you know. The young Frenchman told the gang his name was Mike Benet, but somehow Frenchy seemed more appropriate. Miss Natural Resources welcomes our gang. Sometimes Malibu gets pretty crowded, but luckily today there's hardly anyone out. Surfing on the West Coast more or less started and grew up on this beach. More surfers, including Ricky, have learned to surf here than at any other spot. When Ricky was 9 years old, Buzzy Trent took him out here at Malibu for a tandem ride. After a few blast-offs and splashdowns, Ricky was hooked. Only a few years ago, the old-timers were riding the big hollow paddle boards and the heavy redwood planks, and a little later, the slightly lighter balsa boards. But today we see the water jam with the more maneuverable lightweight foam boards. Frenchy had never seen anything like it. You know, if a complete history of West Coast surfing is ever written, it will take the first chapter just to list the characters whose names are synonymous with Malibu. Guys like Simmons, Quigg, Velzy, Rockland, James, Morey, Tubesteak and Gidget. Then there was Weber, Alberg, Carson, Linden, Ford, Fain, and of course the #1 cat of Malibu, Mickey Dora. Some of the old salts will have you believe Malibu is ruined forever with the invasion of the thousands of young Grammies. But one consolation, if you do make a mistake, forget it. It won't be noticed.
Wake up, wake up.
Ow. This has just got to be the best ride of the day. With the introduction of the new lightweight surfboards, it was only natural that new styles of surfing would develop. Dewey Weber is credited with developing the style that has become known as the hot dog. Performing on a wave was considered revolutionary. Dewey's nose rides and tricks were quickly imitated. Getting the most out of every wave was the new style that made Dewey the king of the hot doggers. Speaking of styles, this fiberglass jungle was also the birthplace of the topless style. But hardly anyone even noticed. There are many little spots nearby that are less